Good evening, one and all, and welcome once again to the hottest league debut since Lionel Messi at Barcelona. And we're going to be there in 2 weeks' time. It is round 3 of the One Hub Racing inaugural ACC season, and they, and indeed the drivers, have hit the ground running in a big way. Carmental has proven to be the one to be at the top of the table after outings at Spa and Silverstone, but it is a whole different ballgame this week. Hungary. Notoriously difficult to overtake, so quality will be all important in this one as our drivers battle out for 60 minutes around the first circuit to ever host a Formula 1 event behind the Iron Curtain. It's Hungaroring, but fear not, for once again I am joined by commentary royalty, F1 regular and general all-round broadcaster extraordinaire. That is the ever-amazing Jessica Ball. How are we this evening, Jess?
Hello everybody, good evening John, it's good to be here. Hungary is going to be a huge challenge for the drivers. I call this track Monaco, but without the barriers. Luckily there's no Monaco on ACC. There is little room for error. It has similar characteristics to Barcelona, where we went for our pre-season race, with a combination of relatively slow speed, medium and high speed corners, as well as the main straight stretching almost 1 kilometre in length. And as a result, this track has a tendency to deliver some great racing. It's hosted a race every year in Formula 1 since its inception in 1986. The layout has been changed slightly over the years, but still retains its characteristically tight and twisty nature. And there's one thing that the driver's going to have to contend with. For the very first time this season, the heavens will open and we'll be having rain. I wonder who's been practiced for the rain tonight and who's been avoiding it at all costs. Well, if you want to do well here tonight, you got to optimise your setup for these wet conditions. We was expecting it to rain in Silverstone last week, but we eventually got it here now, so the drivers will have to deal with it if they like it or not. It's going to be interesting to say the least, and I hope everybody watching at home is ready for it, John.
Oh, yeah, seriously, they're definitely going to need to batten down the hatches. That was a wither joke there. It is bucketing down the rain on the track, and it is really going to be an interesting one. This does mark the halfway mark in the season. We've got two drivers that are out in front, separated by 2 points, and they're 10 points ahead of third, which would suggest on the surface a two-horse race, but most definitely not the case. We've had a few late entrants to the series and some out-of-character results in the first two races, so this one is going to go absolutely down to the wire to decide our series champion. And if we'll have a quick look at the table, of course, Car Mentalist took top honours last week, with Flying Frome taking second and SOP Milden rounding out the podium, which gives us this site at the top. Sorry, 6 points. But you know, that was last week's results. Of course, I'm getting ahead of myself. So yeah, it was 20 points for Car Mentalist, 17 points for Flying Frome, and SOP Milden. He had himself a decent race, but it was, of course, Car Mentalist, as Jess was pointing out to me. He got the hat-trick last week. Pole position, race win, and he even got driver of the day. Yeah, annoyingly quick and nice guy. And a fantastic interview at the end. But as far as the championship goes, that sees him with a cheeky little 3-point gap over his rival SOP Milden, and it is Flying Frome that is in third position, with SOP Cool sitting in fourth. So it does look like there's a big gap to second and third to fourth. But if you have a look further down the table, a certain Floppy Fox in 8th, definitely worth a race podium or two. Camel Babo definitely could pull out a win, as well as H Racing Green, who's unfortunately not racing this evening. He's off on his hollybobs, so he won't be joining us, but he is definitely going to be one to watch in the next 2 weeks. So certainly don't be fooled by what looks like a comfortable gap at the top of that table there. It certainly won't be, and it definitely won't be after 14 rain-soaked corners here at the Hungaroring, Jess.
It's going to be brilliant. And there's a few other drivers that we've got to mention as well for some of these guys as well. There's obviously Blue Mosquito. Hadn't had the best start of the season. He's looking to have a nice race tonight, of course. And obviously there's been some drivers like Gazzaman who had a really great race last time on his debut into ACC. He was in the trial events that we did, but we weren't expecting him to hit the ground running from day one. I think he started 14th and finished in 10th, so he was quite shocked that I picked him as driver of the day, but he was there anyway. He didn't get the overall driver of the day, but he was still my honorary driver of the day, so that counts as well. And there's a few things to mention regarding the stewards report, because you may notice one driver that is not here, not because they're absent or on holiday or anything, because they've been a little naughty boy. There was an incident that happened last week which involved Ponage Town, and the decision that the stewards made that there is going to be a race ban issued to Ponage Town for this race, and the reason was Ponage Town hit Dexter's car in Maggots and Beckett's and spins him off, then hits Kuhl at Stowe, both as a result of misjudgment of braking points, and then Ponage left the lobby later on in the race, which is not allowed according to our rules that we have. The stewards have decided to issue a race ban to Ponage Town for causing 2 incidents and leaving the lobby afterwards. And looking at the instance before that is not good, and hopefully he's learning his lesson whilst watching the race today. Luckily, he doesn't have to suffer from the rain that everybody else has to suffer for tonight. But there we go, and it should be very intriguing to say the least. And we got a few sponsors to mention. I'm going to get it out of the way now because we got 3 minutes left of practice. We forgot last week, didn't we, John? So we're going to get it out of the way now.
Slightly. Sorry.
No, to be honest, that was my fault because I'm head of commentary here, and I always tell the commentators, don't forget to say the sponsors, don't forget to say the sponsors, and I always forgot. So I'm not
it's
really...
excitement, yes, we're allowed to be, but yeah, it's ACC at One Hub. The sponsors are excited as we are, so I think we'll get a free pass. But yeah, good idea to get them out the way now. We're thinking we can get our teeth stuck into qualifying.
Yes, we can concentrate on the racing. So, our sponsors, Next Level Racing, been around for quite a long time now. They are sponsoring the league by providing a direct drive stand to the driver who gets the most driver of the days in Formula 1. The season, pre-season for that starts on Friday, and then the actual season gets started next Friday, which is very, very exciting. The placements have been announced on Sunday. Everyone knows what tiers they're in now, and it's all getting hyped up. It's going to be great. But anyway, we're still going to be on ACC for the time being. Our next sponsor is 3M Sim Racing. They're providing sim racing gloves to the leagues, the Sim 21 ones, which do look very nice. I may get one myself. Vespertine, you could check out their merchandise. They're also going to be providing our support for our championship riders as well. We're still featured on the main site for Vespertine, which I have to say is so brilliant. You can get our merch in a lot of different ways. You just go on to One Hub Racing, click shop here, and then that will take you to our One Hub Racing merch store, and you can get kitted out and you can wear One Hub Racing merch maybe to your race or something like that. That's pretty cool. And our final sponsor / partner is Elite Racing Team, also known as ERT. They're going to be sponsoring the Going Gets Tough award this season, and the drivers will be allowed to win that award if they complete all the races and finish all their pre and post race interviews and finish outside the top 3. That means attend all the races. They don't have to finish, but they have to attend all the races. We got a few ERT drivers tonight. We've got Dexter, Khalifa, and Kyle, and also Camo Bamo as well. How can I not forget Camo Babo? So
I know, yeah. Seriously, come on, what's going on?
There we go. So there is all your sponsors for this tonight and this season. So there we go. I'm sure Dexter will be proud of me that we got it out the way.
Indeed. And plenty of time as well while everybody's watching. We've got a couple of people in the chat. Dalton Nailbender's in the chat. He's in Florida at the moment working, but he is, of course, tuning in to see the action and hear me get excited and shout down the microphone and try and decipher some of the stuff that I say. Everyone else in the chat, how are you all doing? You looking forward to the race? Are your favourites racing? Who are you cheering on? Anyone in particular? Or are you just cheering on a great race? It's Hungary in the rain. The great race is guaranteed, so pick a favourite. It is round 3. We have, of course, been to Spa and Silverstone, but don't worry, we've got Zolder and Monza still to come. Both of those are going to be 75 minuters. This one this evening, I'm sure the drivers will be very grateful. This is the shortest race on the calendar. It's only 60 minutes on unfortunately. But they do still have their mandatory pit stop. And I can assure you, the track going is most definitely wet. So it's going to be a fun one around this course in the middle of Hungary. As Jeff said, back in 1986, this one. So one of the youngest tracks in existence in Formula 1 or GT3. And as she mentioned, it has hosted an F1 event every year since its inception, which was not too bad going at all. We are just about to come into qualifying. I'm looking at these practice times.
Wow.
I can't. Yeah, I know. Seriously, I struggle to get close to that in the dry. I really am going to have a word with Milden and Connor and Floppy Fox and Dex, because it's just, especially Dex. Look how quick he's gone in that Ferrari. I mean, seriously, what is that man doing?
Did he choose the rain on purpose?
You know what? Listen, to be fair, if it was my choice, I'd have had it rain in every track.
Me too, but I'm not the one racing. I'm not the one racing.
It's easy for us to say, sat in the commentary box, to tell you, I was doing some public lobbies on ACC last night. And first sign of rain, I'd have been out of there. That is for absolutely sure. I'm a bit rusty behind the wheel, to say the least. I did have a run round this track today to see what sort of time I can set, which I was going to reveal on stream tonight. But given the times that these guys are sitting in the wet, I'm going to save my blushes and do what I do best, talk. So it is, as we say, round 3, 60 minutes. We've got 15 minutes to set a qualifying time. They've got one mandatory stop, at which point in time have to take on fuel. The amount of fuel they take on is entirely up to them. But they do have to change tyres as well. And I think it's safe to say we might see a few drivers switch on the wets, as you can see on the screen now. I mean, yes, that is... when we talk about driving in wet conditions, this is it here. I mean, this is an absolute test. And on a track like this, I don't know how much experience you've had racing on here. I've certainly had a few goes racing around this track, and I can tell you, overtaking is not easy. Inviting, certainly inviting, but definitely not easy. What experience? Do you have much experience racing GT3s around here, Jess, or is it purely Formula 1 around the Hungaroring that you've had so far yourself?
Mainly Formula 1. I've never tried I think Hungaroring is one of the only tracks I have not driven a GT3 car on this game,
okay.
So I don't have a clue. But I have to say, you can't overtake in the Hungaroring in an F1 car as much either. So it's not just GT3 cars. You can't overtake much in Formula 1 either. And I have to say, the corners that I struggle with in the Hungaroring in any car, I have to say the double chicane, I think heading just past turn 6 and 7 and then 8 and 9, you always get caught out in that, and I spin there a lot. So we're going to keep an eye on those drivers today. A few people could get caught out in that as well. And there has been many rounds of the GT Open Series that happened here as well, and also it hosts rounds for the World Touring Cars, and also the DTM Touring Car Series comes in. I've only recently watched DTM as well. Pretty good. And obviously the popular World Series by Renault races, making it the busiest circuits in Eastern Europe. And some people like it, some people hate it, and it just leads on to the first question from the pre-race interviews. Are people excited for the different characteristics?
Silky segue, Jess, by the way. That's why you're the professional here. That is some silky segue action there. Sorry. Yeah. And I just jumped all over it. Sorry.
That is fine. That is fine. And are people excited for the different characteristics of this track? And a few people saying, Flying Throne, for example, he was until he saw the weather forecast. There we go. And who else says about the weather? Blue Mosquito, I would be, but the rain and Audi combination negates that. Less than 5 crashes will be a success. Wow. And we've got Floppy Fox, I like Hungary, but it's not popular on the calendar, so it's one of my least favourite tracks. I can understand why. It's not looking too bad though. Rain on the horizon will spice things up to help make it one to remember. Milden, he loves the track from his F1 days. He raced in F1 as well. I did not know. I think he stopped in F1 2014. That's when I first started, and I just caught Milden having a spin. Tut Milden. And anyways, I hope he could do well. He hasn't raced here in ACC, so feel he will need to learn quickly. I thought he's raced here before. Obviously not. Dexter said, I raced here one time earlier on ACC, and it's a good track, just very hard to overtake. Cam just says, I want fast. Well, we got to get used to him on his short answers. He's wearing an all pink livery tonight. Don't know what to think of it. I think it looks cool anyway, but a bit too pink, I would say, for that.
Maybe likes to keep it simple, Jess. You know what they say, it's better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and confirm it.
Very true.
Cam definitely doing his best.
And like Connor said, the Aston is strong here, which he's looking good in practice so far. And in qualifying, 151.6. Wow. Kieran likes the characteristics for this track, but he's not here tonight, so he's going to miss it. It was a last-minute situation where he couldn't make it, which was a bit of a shame. Carmentalist likes this track as well. It's something very different to what we had so far, and it's a brand new challenge. Could he get another win tonight? Well, he's hoping that. And if he doesn't win, you can blame me because I probably jinxed him on Twitter. Camo Bavo, he thinks it's a nice track to drive and should be very close racing. Khalifa, he's enjoyed the Hungaroring on other games, so tonight's race should be fun. Eddie says he likes his track. The first two, you have the long straight and high-speed turns, and not here, which I prefer. I hope he can have a better result today and get some points. Well, he hopes he can have a better result today. I hope he can have a better result today as well, but there we go. And Gazerman, he is more technical and he likes it compared to the other tracks, but no, it's more tricky. So a bit of both for Mr. Gazerman. So there we go. That is the first question done. Let's look at the times then. Cool is up there in second already. He's gone into the pits. Last week's winner and pole sitter currently sitting in third at the moment. And just speaking about Kul, he's changed to the Mercedes, and there were rules that you're not allowed to change manufacturers. But the Stewards had leeway into this, but because of this, he is starting from this race onwards on 0 points. He still has the stats on finishing on the podium in Spa, but his points will be wiped out in the championship. So he's starting from this week on 0 points.
Oh, so there you go. That is a brave move halfway through the championship. If you do feel a bit uncomfortable with the car, definitely worth getting it changed. The timing boards are absolutely lighting up. Dexter was at one point the quickest man in Sector 3. Wow. I swear Car Mentalist times this. Is he looking over my shoulder? I just had a big speech prepared there and he's just purpled all 3 sectors and absolutely decimated the rest of the field by 8/10. Sorry, let's round that up. 0.879. That's 9/10 ahead of the field. Second through to 6th are separated by 2/10. So he has increased that gap at the top, or he's increased the gap that was at the top, and I'll tell you, he's putting some absolutely Olympic standard. That Sector 3 time is ridiculous. Sector 3 alone, he's half a second quicker than the rest of the field. It's just mind-boggling to me. Absolutely mind-boggling. But he is on the front row of the grid at the moment, and he's joined by ERT's Khalifa at the moment. Row 2, it's looking like Connor and Floppy Fox. Late addition to the competition, Floppy, but certainly not to be counted out when it comes to podium honours. Although I have seen him and a couple other drivers have little spins in the wet. You really do need to catch yourself a fair bit of curb to use all the track, and that's not always ideal in these conditions, that's for sure. But he's certainly looking not bad. Very polite and qualifying at the moment. Still got 7 minutes to go. Maybe want to, although it's sneaking a bit of slipstream. Floppy Fox then. Whoo! It's almost like one of the commentators knew. He's just jumped his times quite substantially, and he's got himself onto the front row, and within half a second of our championship's main protagonist, the McLaren driving Car Mentalist. I'm just having a run down exactly where I was just going, Jess. That's amazing. Straight to ERT Camo Babo. 1.4 seconds off the pace at the moment, but he's still showing some good sector times. He just needs to string them together. Could see him making moves. Flying Frome finished on the podium in the Lambo. He is the lone Lambo, so it's going to be difficult to know how it's performing here. Of course, we can see the Bentleys and the Mercedes doing quite well at the top of the championship. But flying from, he's definitely going to be one to watch. And the man just behind them in qualifying at the moment, the Blue Mosquito. Jess mentioned him in her opening, and for very good reason. An amazing first stint in last week's race. And if it wasn't for a little incident then, could have found himself much further up. How will he... Woof! Oh, that bit of a wiggle there. And it's a full-on spin. How is he in the Audi going to handle the rain?
Wow,
Yeah,
he's having all those spins like no tomorrow. I hope he able to keep it on the track for the rest of the race, I have to say. And yeah, I think Milden has not set a time on the board. Where is Milden?
Yeah, Blair Grills as well.
Yes. Well, Blair Grills has gone into the pits as well. So Milden, I think, needs to get a move on. But I think he's probably had a few spins. Again, he's not too comfortable. One of the only tracks on this game that he has not raced at. So that's why I think he's a little bit less comfortable than the other tracks on this game anyway. So we haven't mentioned much about this item on the media day. Every week a driver gets called into the drivers' press conference and they get grilled by the media. And it is our championship leader, car mentalist, that has been called in this week. And he was asked, it's been a very close race up front and you're still winning a chance of winning the whole thing. Who will be your biggest competition and will you do it? And he said, it's been a very close race, yes, and the pecking order has been different each week so far. It's hard to say who will be the one to watch out for, but I have my eye on Milden and Froome. Milden has been mentioned a lot in one of the pre-race interview questions.
Milden's just gone 5th.
Milden's gone 6th actually now, as I think someone else just beaten him.
Oh, yeah. Connor's just gone 2nd.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
and
this is getting good.
Car Mentalist goes on to say these two have the speed and consistency to win, and he said with regards to winning, I wouldn't race if I didn't think I could win. He's really excited for the challenge, but I have full faith I could pull it out of the bag. Well, a lot of the drivers think you will be doing well too, because they've been asked if you aren't the one to lift the driver's crown, who would it be? Dexter saying Car Mentalist. Milden said he doesn't care. Floppy Fox says that mental person who likes cars. Connor says Car Mentalist. So did Flying Froome as well. Cabo Babo says Car Mentalist. So does Khalifa. So does Blue Mosquito. And so does Gazaman. And then some other people. Kill said, to be honest, I couldn't really care. We're all here to win, but if I had to come down to it, he hopes that Milden gets it. And he also thanks the stewards for sorting out his change of car, because he was not comfortable with the car that he was in to begin with. So, and commentator said it better be him. Eddie says Milden, because since the beginning of the season he's gave me a lot of tips, so he hopes he wins. I'm trying to say who else says Milden. I think quite a few people actually.
I'd imagine anybody with half an ounce of knowledge.
So there we go, that was that question. And we got 3 minutes to go of qualifying, and Connor's looking very comfortable at the moment in P2, and I think he said that he kind of likes this track as well. He did say that the Aston was good as well. He said in the pre-race interviews that he's not sure that he's met his expectations. He did have a game crash last week, if you remember, but he was saying he had a good battle at the start of the race when he was in Silverstone when he was here. And since they're only a 5-race season, it hurt his chance of the championship a lot. But we'll see. There could be other people that makes mistakes, and he's looking quite comfortable at the moment. And Flying Frome's beating expectations so far, and Camo Babo is as well. Khalifa says he's still aiming for a top 10 in the championship, which should be possible if he can avoid big mistakes. Blue Mosquito, though, he's the same expectations as what I think of him. He's not really hitting his aims. He got a podium there, but with this grid, that might be the only one I ever get, he said. There we go.
Indeed. Just looking down the timing board as well, we're coming right to the business end of qualifying. Flying Froome, who won or got himself on the podium last week, struggling this week. He is sitting in 11th at the moment, and I'll tell you what, SOP Milden is definitely on the verge of big things. He is the quickest driver in Sector 1. He's gone quicker than Car Mentalist in Sector 1, not by a lot, by a 1/4 of a 100th of a second. Oh, and I tell you what, SOP Cool's just purple sector 3. Wow, to take second place. Listen, 3/10 off of Car Mentalist. So there's now 6/10 separating the top 4. Floppy Fox Corner, SOP Cool, and Car Mentalist. Speaking of SOP, actually, do I see Simon in the chat? I do indeed, and he's saying, oh, the place that farms trains where you can't overtake. Yep, that has been highlighted several times in the opening. It's going to be fun. Watch them hold their brakes in the rain. I've got a certain Colin Mason in the chat as well. He's had a stressful day at work and he's looking forward to watching some ACC. Although be careful with that flame, Colin. In this rain, it's not likely to last long. Neither are the driver's tyres if they spin too much, I'll tell you. Car Mentalist is still at the top of the table. I did say that SOP Milden was on the verge of great things. He's just purple sector 2. Still not enough to get himself into the top 5. So SOP Milden is the quickest man in sector 1 and 2. And SOP Cool is the quickest man in sector 3. Our pole sitter currently doesn't have a quick sector. But he is out on track, setting a lap at the moment, and he does like to make a complete fool of me. I was half expecting him to cross the line as we were speaking to go about 3 seconds quicker and purple everything and still take drive of the day and win the race and do all the things that Car Mentalist seems to be able to do while he's driving that McLaren. It's going to be a tough one, as Simon said, as I've said, as Jess has said, as anybody. Oh, he has a spin, so he's not going to improve. This is a notoriously difficult place to overtake. Throw some rain into the mix, and I have never been more grateful to be sat in the commentary box and not out on track. This is going to be so close, and we can see the drivers really are pushing for those quality times. Now 7 drivers separated by less than a second, and from 8th down to 11th, not that big of a gap either, if we're honest. So, Dex is in 4th. On you go, Dex.
Yes,
he
Dexter.
really is picking up his qualifying game. He really is picking up his qualifying game. Love to see it. And his dedication to the Ferrari. He always gets brownie points from me, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on you go, Jess. Sorry, I'm just marvelling over these sector times at the moment. Yeah.
We're watching Connor now as he goes past the very tricky corners coming up now. He said he's been good in practice, but is he going to translate that into qualifying as someone's gone off? I'm not sure that is. That might be Carl, actually.
Mercedes.
That is Kyle. I recognise his livery. Anyway, going towards the final corner. We'll see if it's enough for him to get onto the front row. I doubt it, but the timing boards may update.
Wow.
No, it's not. So Mentalist is on pole position for the 2nd week in a row, and I just went on board at him at the right time, ready to go on board with him on a formation lap. That is brilliant. So we got Car Mentalist from Milden, from Kull, from Connor, from Dexter, from Floppy Fox, from Khalifa, from Camo Babo, from Eddie, from Cablo. Then we got flying from Gazzaman, Blue Mosquito, Cam, Carl, and then Blair Grills in last place. The top 7 separated by 9/10 of a second, and the top 11 separated by just under 2 seconds.
Yeah, that really is some very, very, very close qualifying action indeed. Pat's on the back to Gazzaman. He's qualified in 12th, and he's just set a personal best in the rain. Nicely done, Gazzaman. He is aptly in the Boatley. Of course, those cars have outboard motors and oars as well. The Bentley, very famous for being able to drive on water. The thing is huge and probably could float. But it is a Mercedes on the top front row of the grid, and it's an SOP lockout of positions 2 and 3. Then it's the ART team popping up to say hi with Connor, and ERT Dexter is the ERT team driver leading the way this week. It really is turning into a bit of a team championship it's a team championship from 2nd through to 8th, with Car Mentalist showing them all how it's done. It's going to be fun to see how that one plays out. Eddie, Cablo flying from Gazzaman, Blue Mosquito, Cam, come on, and then there's ERT, Kyle, and Blair Grills. Of course, as we mentioned, we're missing No F1 style start, please, says Simon. There's been a few jokes about that in the chat, actually. Valtteri Bottas, he's definitely been mentioned a couple of times, as well as
And
a
Lance
few others.
Stroll.
Lance Stroll, that was the other one. There we go. Lance Stroll, he got a cheeky mention as well. So, yeah, we'll definitely be watching out for any Mercedes stepping out of line. Why is the drive button flashing for me?
I don't know why the drive button is flashing for you. I can't see your screen, so...
No, that's... Yeah, okay. Let's hope I don't get kicked out. No, I'm still in on Helicam. It's fine. We can breathe a sigh of relief. Or I can, at least. So who's predicting what in the chat, Simon? Which one of your boys is going to finish highest? Colin, who you cheering on? Gaza, I think we know who you're cheering on. Bottas bowling bar technique. Bowling ball technique. Got it. I hope not. Yeah, Simon, you've got second and third place for your team there. Indigo Lime Evo's Floppy Fox as well. And I tell you, Dex sitting in fifth. See, I hate to sound overly biased towards the Ferrari, but somebody like Dex gets a good start. The way he runs his races, a podium, I think, is definitely on the cards. But it does mean he needs to turn over that corner to two SOP drivers. So we'll see. Yeah, so it's a big ask for him, but he's definitely more than capable of it. Milden and Carmentalist, it's fun to see those two at the top. One finished top of the Gold League, one finished top of the Silver League, and they're completely inseparable. At the top of this one, only 3 points separating them in the championship. They've had a win each, a driver of the day each, and I believe they've taken a pole position each as well. So they are absolutely splitting the honours right down the middle. And it's going to be fun. Speaking of right down the middle, is that when we're going to see the pit stops come into play? They've got a mandatory pit stop. Khalifa's got a checkered flag next to his name. Is he going to be starting from the pit? Nope, that's just a glitch on my board. It's disappeared. That's fine. Oh no, he's out on track. That's fine. Yes, so they've got mandatory pit stop, fuel and tyres. The amount of fuel they take on board is entirely up to the drivers. Likely to be the bare minimum, and that mandatory tyre change as well. Clearly, they'll all be putting on another set of wet boots because this rain ain't going away. The rain in Spain may fall mainly on the plane, but it is absolutely piling down here at Hungary. We see the puddles at the side of the chicane there. Let's hope we don't see anything too ambitious. As I said, overtaking here very difficult. It's inviting. It is inviting, certainly not sensible in a lot of these places, and with the loss of grip and the extra centrifugal force on the cars from cornering in these conditions, and some puddles off the racing line, yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting to see how the drivers. We're coming into Sector 3 now, Jess, and rain, 16 drivers, a championship on the line. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts in the chat, guys. Who do you think is going to take the victory? Will Carmentalists take it 2 for 2? Or will the likes of Milden, Kuhl, Connor, Dexter? Don't forget Dexter won in the pre-season race. He hasn't won at all.
Go Dex!
In the last few. And he's been practicing and he's looking pretty good as well. Kuhl is looking to do well in his first race in the Mercedes. We'll see if he performs better than he did in the Bentley, I think it was. And yes,
strange move that one for me, to be honest, to go from the Bentley to the Mercedes. It's not
I thought he would have gone to something else, but there we go. But anyway, John, I'll let you take through the start. Let's do this.
So the top three is Carmentalist, it's Milden, it's SOP, Cool. Dexter and Floppy Fox are going to be watching intently from row 3. We're crossing the finish line. White line, green lights, foot down, flat out into turn 1 to go. It's a great start from Carmentalist. He's moving over to defend because he can see the Mercedes in his slipstream. Floppy Fox has been pushed out wide. Dexter trying to pop his nose into the middle. Early braking from the Mercedes there. Everyone very, very clean, trying to avoid contact. Oh, a little bit of a touch from Dexter, and the rain's not helped. The Lamborghini know who's driving up, but the Lamborghini's been taken out, but Carmentalist is still in the lead of the race. He's hanging on in there. It's Milden that's right in beside him, and there is Floppy Fox. We're only 3 turns in, and he is third already. He's got that Mercedes just tucked in behind him. Dexter's definitely fallen foul of that incident. Lost of traction and a wee bit into the distance. Just waiting on these timing boards to try and calm themselves down so we can get half a clue to where everyone is. It's definitely Car Mentalist that's leading the way though, and it's SOP Milden in second place, Floppy Fox in third with SOP Cool now sitting in fourth. Art Connor in fifth, Cablo's up to sixth, ERT, not to be forgotten, Camo Babo, he's in seventh place, Khalifa's in eighth, we've got Flying From, he's made it up to ninth. Gazaman 10th, Eddie 11th, Cam Come On in 12th, Blue Mosquito in 13th. Oh, we've had a bit of a coming together. Oh, it's Blue Mosquito and Eddie. Eddie in the Aston Martin on the exit to the chicane. Not sure if he touched a bit of the grass and spun, but he came very close to making contact with Blue Mosquito from what I could see. So that's again going to make it an interesting one to try and keep up with what's going on. Blair Grills has just been overtaken at the back by Dexter, who's looking to gather himself after that early start. But back up at the front of the field, it is almost as you were. Well, certainly as you were from turn 3 anyway. And it is Car Mentalist off and running. 7/10ths to the good already from SOP Milden. Indigo Lime Evo's Floppy Fox looking very comfortable indeed in that third position. He's got SOP Cool right behind him though, so it's going to be a tall order keeping him there for the whole race, with Art Connor as well lurking just in the background. Camel Babo and Khalifa rounding out the top 8. SOP Cool getting very close in the braking zone there, and he's got Art Connor just in behind. Tell you what, Jess, for these conditions, that is an absolutely incredible start. And yeah, Car Mentalist running away with it. Milden and Floppy Fox look like they're going to be getting well acquainted for the majority of this race.
I have to say, the top 5, they're doing a great job so far, and to be honest, I'm not surprised Floppy Fox is up there, to be honest. He looked superb in that last race in Silverstone, definitely showing he is not a guy to be judged at, and he wants to potentially win a race here in 100 Racing's ACC. He's known well for SOP as well. I did watch a race over the weekend where he took part in that, and he is a guy that loves these type of races, he loves these type of weather as well. So watch him to potentially go for a move on Milden. I can't wait to see. Curry's not that far behind. Connor as well, doing a great job. Fingers crossed he can stay there for the entire race. Please, please, Sony, do not crash on him, because that will be so heartbreaking if that happens. But he's still in at the moment in that beautiful Aston Martin. I kind of wish he had a green Aston Martin, but I like the colours nonetheless. The pink and the blue, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful so far. Blue Mosquito, what a surprise! Really, not a surprise really. He's gone into the pits to serve damage now, since it is only a 1 minute race. 1 minute race and 1 hour race. Sorry. It's been a long day. It's been a long day for both of us, folks. Since it's a 1 hour race, you can pit now, and it will get you to the end of the race. So at least Blue Mosquito doesn't have to worry about hitting again. And Cool has got Connor breathing down his neck right now. And, oh, what's happened to Floppy Fox? I think he's still in third, actually. I thought something happened to him, but no, Floppy Fox is in third position still. The timing just keeps going everywhere, so it's hard to see. But biggest gainer, Cablo. And don't forget, one thing that we forgot to mention.
Yeah, Cablo.
Comeback points. Comeback points. If you finish inside the top 10 and gain the most positions, you will get a comeback point. And the same for people outside the top 10 at the moment. For inside the top 10, it's definitely going to go to Cablo if it stays like this. Outside the top 10, I don't know what the qualifying was like for those, so I don't have a clue. Dexter, the biggest loser so far, all the way down to 12. He just gets very unlucky with starts, doesn't he? In instance.
Just a bit of a trouble magnet at the start.
Well, it's not his fault.
Clean racer. Oh no, that's what I mean. He is a bit of a trouble magnet, as in he's not. He seems to bring the trouble to him for such a clean racer with such great IQ. He definitely tries his best to keep his nose clean. It just, all these incidents seem to find him. He just seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Very, very often, which is, like I say, devastating to see, because he genuinely is a great guy, and he does have some serious racecraft and some great race pace as well. And he's been putting that together with his qualifying recently, and it was paying dividends until he, like I say, seemed to magnetise his car and Every incident on the track seems to find its way into Dex's back pocket, unfortunately. He was down in 16th after that incident. He's back up to 11th. So he's definitely on a comeback charge. But as Jess was saying, these top 5 drivers are absolutely having it their own way at the moment. Car Mentalist is still in the lead, but that 7/10 gap that he got in the first lap has not increased. In fact, it's decreased ever so slightly. And it does look like SOP Cool is fully enjoying the slipstream that he's getting there from Floppy Fox. So he's just popping out of it there as they come along to start Sector 2. Oh, see what I mean about needing a lot of curb? I tell you what, if you're on the accelerator the wrong way, it's going to cause you a lot of trouble. The Mercedes braking a bit later, but apparently proving it's got the legs in a straight line. Going to come into the chicane for the 4th time asking, and he's missed his brakes. Yeah, he's missed his brakes a bit there, and I tell you, that's slowed him right up, and
That's
it's given
it, Connor. Watch Connor.
Oh, look at him on that curb. How brave are these drivers on the curb in these conditions? Definitely wouldn't be me, but Connor, he is in full shark mode. He smells blood in the water, and it's SOP Cool's blood that he is after. Floppy got a bit of a shunt in the rear there, so hopefully not a lot of damage for either of these drivers. That is the last thing you need in these conditions, is a bit of wonky aerodynamics. Definitely not what you need. So it's Cool that missed the braking zone, caused the collision, and is now going to have to defend, whereas he may well have been looking to mount an attack. No, it's certainly not going to be the case, because Art Connor in the Aston Martin, it looks like he's got the legs over Cool. Like I say, might be a bit of aerodynamic damage, so he could suffer at the top end of the speed, although seems to be not bad there. Maintains the gap back to Connor, and perhaps closes ever so slightly on Floppy Fox. Now 1.1 seconds separates 2nd from 3rd, and Car Mentalist as well now stretched that gap out a bit. A 2nd now between 1st and 2nd, but if we jump on board with 11th, Jess, and just in time, Dexter, we mentioned Cam Comon's livery, and I'll tell you, Dex is getting very close. He's in 11th at the moment, and it does look like he is eyeing up a move on the Mercedes driving Cam Comon at the moment. He is closing that gap with every turn. Oh wow, really gets over the curbs in that Ferrari. That is some brave driving there, Dex, I'll tell you. Brave driving. But yes, as we can see, very close to that Mercedes. Of course, qualified in 5th position, involved in a bit of an incident, found himself back into 16th. He's now up into 11th, still with a pit stop to go, but you'll be wanting to get as many overtakes done on track before he comes into the pit as he possibly can. Just having a look at that timing, and yeah, so that is still stretching him a bit. Khalifa on Camel Babo could be a thing very soon as well. Dex poiling out of the slipstream into turn 12, coming into turn 12A. Why it's called 12A? Why not just ignore it? It is only a slight left-hand kink coming into 13. Around to come. Look at how much earlier Dex can get on the accelerator, and the Ferrari just closing. As I say, every single corner just closing in. The last corner again, closing right up onto the back. And it's going to be a drag race straight along this 1 kilometre start-finish straight. As Dex can go to the Mercedes. What a set of legs that thing's got in a straight line. All that work Dex has done. He's going to have to hope he can close it when the braking comes out early from the slipstream. As if he's going to make a move up the inside. Doesn't know. Both drivers mount the curb. Oh, Dex has himself a bit of a wiggle. Bit too keen on that accelerator then, and he's going to have to spend another lap rebuilding that one. Oh, and we've got a car off. Blue Mosquito is off into the distance at turn 2 there, just in the background. We were able to see him rejoining the track there, so the Audi driver really struggling here tonight in Hungary. Whether it's the Audi or the driver himself, not entirely sure. But Jess, if we jump back up to 4th, it is getting all kinds of interesting up there. We've got SOP Cool. He is very close once again to Floppy Fox, and Art Connor is even closer to the back of SOP Cool. And they've got a back marker. I believe that's Eddie, car number 92, currently running in 14th. Yep, pops himself very quickly out the way there. The Mercedes and the Aston Martin make it past very swiftly indeed. Car Mentalist's got a 1 second gap then to Milden. Milden's got a 2-3 second gap back to Floppy Fox. And I tell you, Art Connor has got the rear spoiler tips from the Mercedes in front of him. He is so close, he could literally steal the exhaust pipe from that car while it is moving. The Mercedes and the Aston Martin going out of hammer and tong. Of course, we've seen Cool rear end Floppy in the braking zone. Both managed to stay relatively on track. Floppy did have to cut the chicane ever so slightly. There doesn't appear that either driver is suffering too much damage. Oh, as Eddie completely misses turn 1. Then he gives himself a quick shadow element into the background just behind our race leaders there. So SOP Cool, and it really is just back and forward. It's as if, yeah, each driver just makes that little tiny mistake on one corner, allows the gap to close, and another driver has a little wiggle, allows the gap to close. Milden, speaking of gaps closing, Jess, he's found 0.4 of a second on the race leader in the last lap. That has closed that gap absolutely phenomenally. Simon's in the chat saying he's imagining that the McLaren is harder to handle in the rain, and that would yeah, certainly seem to be played out. At the moment, it does look like the Boatley is the car on the move. Floppy Fox is still defending, but it is Milden looking to get a move done on Car Mentalist. Certainly going to keep applying that pressure if he can. Colin's in the chat cheering on Dex, and he also says that's a very cool interior camera angle. I take it we're on board with SOP Cool at the time. Which, yeah,
I was trying the onboard cameras. I was trying the onboard cameras this week because I know I had some feedback that you wanted some more, so I wanted to try a little bit of an experiment as well and see what I could do, and it's working out quite well. So if you like it, I will keep it for next week.
Yeah, defo. We definitely like some of these onboard cameras.
Yes.
Just having a look down. Khalifa and Camel Babo still keeping themselves very, very honest, the two teammates. Flying Throne has gathered himself. He did get caught up in that incident early doors as well in the Lamborghini. He's gotten himself back up into 9th. Doesn't seem to be carrying too much damage, but I think he might have been clipped when Dex got spun round, and it certainly sent him off track. But like I say, 9th, that is a decent recovery, and if he could keep that pace up, it should get him a few places back up the field as well. But it is still, I can't take my eyes off SOP Cool and IL Indigo Lime Evo's Floppy Fox. You can pretty much see the battle ahead of them for the lead of the race. And it must be tantalisingly close for both of them. Floppy and Cool can both see the top spot on the podium. They just need to sort out their affairs between the two of them, and it doesn't look like it's going to be anytime soon that happens. Both men. Oh, sorry, you go?
Yeah, I think Cool's been looking very good on the back of Floppy Fox as well. I think Cool has definitely made the right decision to go in them with the way that he's handling at the moment, but I don't know how they're using the curbs to full affection. If I do that on ACC, I would end up spinning like 2 or 3 times in a wet. This is just incredible stuff at the moment, and the way that Cool is putting the pressure on Floppy Fox, I think Floppy Fox must be feeling a bit worried at the moment, trying to hold on to that podium, because the podium could make all the difference, because it's not that long to go until the end. Don't forget, we've got Zolder next week, and then after that we got Monza, and then that's it. So if they have a bad race tonight, I don't know how they're going to do it in the final few races to come, of course. We obviously don't know what the weather is until nearer the time. Cool has gained quite a bit of time on Floppy Fox. This lap will go on board with
the lead. Milden,
okay, hold on a second.
I'll tell you what, Milden nearly got one up the inside of Car Mentalist. He's definitely looking the quicker. They're going to come into turn 2, and Milden's got to keep applying the pressure here. Look how close he's getting. Turn 1, he was very nearly up the inside, pulled back out of it so as not to avoid contact and give the McLaren the apex. But I will tell you this for free, Milden is looking to be the quicker of the two at the moment. The Bentley definitely enjoying some prime grip on those wet tyres compared to that very squirrely looking McLaren at the moment. But wow, into turn 1, that was so close between the two of them. Can't believe Milden didn't manage to quite get the legs stretched out. Only has a bit of a wiggle coming out the exit of the chicane. Coming in the latter part of the track once again. Lap number 8, still 43 minutes and a mandatory pit stop to go. And the battle for the lead. Oh, is it going to change hand? Milden runs a bit wide there into that puddle. He's maybe having a bit of some problems with his tyres, trying to cool them down a bit. Driving off the line. Certainly, if it gets the track gets too dried out, the tyres, the wet tyres, will seriously overheat. And that's definitely not what the drivers need. Or if it is going to happen, at least make sure it happens in your first stint. Don't do it after you've been into the pit. We've seen a second driver come into the pit then. Doc Nailbender's in the chat says he spins on dry curbs, never let alone the wet one. Yeah, amen to that, Doc. Amen to that.
Me too.
Yeah, exactly. You should be in the comedy box as well, Doc. No, I'm only kidding. You're a better driver than me, so I'm going to leave that one alone before he starts spanking my lap times. Gazaman's in the pit. Blue Mosquito, the other driver to have taken his pit at the moment. The ERT drivers, Camel Babo and Khalifa, are keeping themselves still very honest between the two of them. But it is this battle for the lead that's keeping us on the edge of our seats at the moment. SOP Cool's now 1.1 seconds behind Floppy, who's 2 seconds behind Milden. And Milden once again trying to rebuild to find a way through. This is for full championship honours. If Milden wins this race and Carmentless finishes second, they will be all square on points.
But Milden will lead on countback because he would have had 2 wins if Milden wins.
Yeah, so he will be leading on countback. Wow.
That's how we do it at One Hub. That's how we do
it. Nice. Yeah. So that's going to, they're definitely going to need to get the wins under their belt then. So that's certainly going to be. So there we go then. Milden will take the championship lead if he wins today. Carmentless takes second. Carmentless wins today. He's got himself a 6-point lead and 2 wins for any potential countback with what will be 2 weeks left to go. So only 2 more points scoring opportunities after this one tonight. So it really is going to be vital to make sure you don't spend too much time singing and dancing in the rain and getting yourself up ahead. And I'll tell you what, ERT Dexter as well, I've just noticed that he's back up to 9th now, Jess. It doesn't seem like too long ago he was in 11th. He's now actually caught back up to Flying Frome, and he's very close to the Lamborghini driver there. And yeah, those were the 2, as I say, that were caught in the incident on the first lap. So they're definitely making progress back through the field. Let's have a look.
Oh, Dex is going to go for the move. Is he going to go for the lunge into turn 1? Oh, Flying Frome. Looks like he's closed the door there. But Dex, I have to say, if he's a comeback driver, and I see one, that is just amazing pace he's showing on the way. I kind of wish he didn't have an instant earlier, and he could have been high up there challenging the likes of Connor, Cool and Floppy Fox and Milden and all that. Dex is doing an incredible job, and I'm sure, John, you love this because he's in a Ferrari and he's right on the gearbox of Flying Frome. Is he going to go for...
Oh, he's got it.
He's got it. Well done, Dexter.
Up inside.
Well done, Dexter. That was incredible. I wish I was on drive then for the minute, but I wasn't. But still, we got the move anyway. It was incredible stuff. I think Flying Frome is struggling, John, because he's got someone behind him, which is Khalifa. Let's just follow this battle because I have to say it's amazing. I'll let you, if the battle for the lead changes, let me know. But for now, we have got this between Flying Frome and Khalifa. Dexter, I think, is pulling away into the distance. And I think Dexter's going to hope that people keep battling like this as well. Both of these drivers still yet to make the stops. Blue Mosquito could still be back in this because he's only around 12.5 seconds to Cam, and Cam hasn't pitted. So even with Blue Mosquito's incident, he could still be with some good points. So you never know. Like we said earlier, if you pit at the start like after the end of the first lap, you could still do it. The fuel could make it if you calculate it right. So, yeah, it is not over by any means if you pit at the end of lap 1. And we got Khalifa going to go for the move. Is he going to do a Dex descend into turn 1? And we shall see. Colin's got a question, which we'll ask in a minute, because we got this battle between the lead. Khalifa tries to go move on the inside, but Flying Throne covers it off again in turn 1. Now I'm going to be heading towards turn 2 and 3. And
the lead.
The lead, let's go.
Oh, there was nearly contact. They get big deep breath. It was Alonso. He wasn't in range to make the move. I think I'm going to give him the benefit of the rainy doubt here, and no Milden, very clean driver. It looked like he just misjudged his braking zone ever so slightly, and there was so nearly contact between the two, but Milden did sacrifice his tyres and send himself almost off at turn 5, but he is definitely the quicker of the two drivers at the moment. He is absolutely the quicker of the two over the piece. It's a lap building exercise. He's closing it, and that slight misjudgment into turn 5, as I say, very nearly took him right into the side of the race leader. Did jam on those brakes, sacrifice a bit of tyres and go off. He didn't collect any sand. He did only go off onto the tarmac, so at least some solace there. Definitely don't want gritty, wet tyres. That will literally be like driving on ice. But yeah, it's coming, Jess. I mean, yeah, it's just one of these things. I'm going to say the overtake's going to come sooner rather than later, and Carventus are going to lead the race from start to finish or something. But again, you can see just coming in the braking, so just Milden, he is absolutely getting close. We've had guys mention, yeah, the question in the chat does seem like Colin was asking, is there much of an undercut? Is there? In these conditions, making the undercut work could be tricky. If you try and push it too much on your out lap, you'll completely waste anything that you can get done as far as an undercut goes. So we'll have to see how it works. We're going to keep an eye. Khalifa's actually come into the pits from 10th. You've got Cam Coman and Kyle behind him, but the battle's still up at the front, and it looks like Cool has closed the gap as well, back down again. Whatever little mistake he made, he has certainly gathered himself and got moving once again back up to 4th. So yeah, as far as the undercut here, I'm honestly not 100% sure, and even if there isn't, the undercut is quite strong here. It's definitely not as strong as Silverstone, that's for sure. I would say it's going to be a difficult one to make stick.
It depends on pace, I think. It depends on pace. Some drivers, I think, on this track can make it work, but I think you gotta be quick to have so you can do what you want, basically. So I don't know.
62 seconds they're going to be in the pits for.
62 seconds, and we were talking last week about how much time you lose. I think it was either last week or the week before. We were talking about pit stop times. Percentage of lap loss around the Hungaroring is around, if I can read the spreadsheet correctly, 60%. So compared to obviously Silverstone last week, it was 52. So they lose more time in the pits per lap in the Hungaroring compared to Silverstone, even though. Oh, pardon?
Floppy Fox is in the pits, and we've got Simon in the chat saying that you can gain 4 seconds on the undercut depending on traffic.
There we go.
That's a big old chunk. That is a big old chunk.
There's Floppy Fox then in the pits, so he's doing his mandatory stop. Cablo is also in the pits as well, so he wants to get his stop nice and early. I'm surprised people are coming in a bit later than I thought they would, but we're still watching Milden and Car Mentalist fight. They're like the two titans. They're like I'm trying to think of any GT battle championship battles that went down to the wire. But if I'm talking about F1, I'm talking about Senna versus Prost, Hill versus Schumacher, and more recently Verstappen versus Hamilton. And
You mean Mercedes versus Red Bull?
Toto Wolff versus Christian Horner, just saying.
Yeah, pretty much. It really is, doesn't it? That's exactly what this is, and it's a fascinating battle.
Lewis and Max get on fine, even with even with that incident they had in what was it, Silverstone?
Oh, Silverstone. Yeah.
They still get on fine. I just wish the Toto Wolff and Christian Horner had the same respect as the two drivers had. I can tell you that. But anyway,
there you go. Matt Neal versus Jason Plato. SOP Simon busting out the facts.
I love that battle.
I had you as my secretary, Simon.
I love that battle, Matt Neal versus Jason Plato. I used to love watching Jason Plato when I was a kid. Still do. I don't know how he's still good, Mr. Jason Plato. But there we go. Carl is in as well. He's just gone out, and Khalifa's done his stop, as well as Blue Mosquito. Cablo's up to 9th after all the pit stops.
Cablo is up to 9th, yeah, he is.
And he could be up to 8th because Cam still has to pit. And Cablo is only 13 seconds behind Cam, so this is going to be exciting.
Yeah, Cablo was right up in 5th or 6th, actually. After the LXC, he qualified in 10th. And then obviously we saw Dexter and Flying Frome both involved in an incident into turn 1, and Cablo made the jump then, and he hung on to the back. Simon's pointing out in the chat that Floppy Fox was in fact 4 seconds behind the lead pair when he came into the pit, so we'll see if the undercut works out for him. Although Milden and Carmentalist are still out on track, absolutely hammering it, so if they can keep going, I'm not sure how effective the undercut would be. I'm sure he's going to be crying, but yeah, great drive as just mentioned from Cablo. Currently in 9th, and I think he is easily going to take 3 or 4 places. I mean, I think Camo Babo and Dexter are definitely on damage limitation alongside Flying Frome. And by the time this difference looking like it is, I don't see any reason, if Cablo keeps this pace up, he won't get himself back to definitely 6th, if not potentially.
Update! Milden is in. Milden is in the pit, so he's pit before Carmentalist. I was on board with the bleeding bound. Carmentalist went a little bit wide earlier, so allowed Milden to gain some time. So if Milden did not pit, I think Milden would have got Carmentalist, but Milden has decided to pull the trigger. There's some other drivers that are coming in as well. Connor, Gazaman's still in the pits as well. So they come into the pits. Now this is getting very exciting. I do see another driver, the number 31. That is Gazaman who's still in. Yeah, that's 31 of Gazaman. And that's Connor, who's just breezing past. And that is Eddie or Blue Mosquito. Yeah, that's Eddie. That's in. Quite a lot of drivers are in. But Carmentalist, our race leader, still out.
Yeah, he is. I'm just keeping an eye on Floppy Fox, and he's coming through Sector 2 now. We'll see where where Milden comes out in relation to Floppy Fox. So we're watching Floppy Fox. I can confirm the SOP Milden is down, off and running. I tell you what, he's still a fair chunk down. Milden is out the pits and into turn 1 already.
That's quick!
Yeah, so he definitely got his pit stop, and I tell you, the gap between Floppy and Milden has massively increased. I mean, that is... Oh, Floppy had problems. Okay, yep, sorry.
Oh, right, yeah, Floppy did have problems, and there was a question saying why Floppy has dropped for some reason. He's probably struggling a little bit out there after his pit stop, and that's probably why he had to do damage limitation from then on, I think, which is a bit of a shame for Floppy Fox, because he could have been on for a podium, but I didn't say anything. Luckily, I didn't say anything this time about that as well.
The commentator.
Yeah, at least we're not cursed. And
Carmentalist in.
Carmentalist in as well. Well, he had to respond to that, surely. Otherwise, he would have lost a lot of time. And a few drivers trying to make some comebacks, it seems. And since the introduction of the comeback points, which has been, I think, a huge success so far, the drivers were asked if they liked the comeback point. Did they spice things up, and is it a good addition? Of course Dexter liked it. He's tier coordinator of the thing. But he said, I was a part of putting him in this series, so I might be biased here. There we go.
He's in the pits.
Yeah, and Dexter's in the pit. There you go. That's why I'm a commentator. Smooth transition. And I think someone else in the pits as well, Flying Throne.
Flying Throne, yeah.
Yeah, and Milden, who's currently doing a fantastic job, says he likes it because it's a great idea for the league. Floppy Fox likes it as well. He's all for experimenting with rules and how points are distributed, keeps things fresh. I agree with that. Cam has a
Oh, this is going to be close.
It's going to be close.
Sorry,
Let's ignore the question. Let's ignore the questions for now.
Carmentis is rolling. But he's not going quick enough. Milden's going to take the lead of the race. Ladies and gentlemen, you asked if the undercut worked. Oh, he's missed his brakes!
No!
Then you had the lead in the race!
He bottled it. That was a big bottle.
Wow, that was the ideal opportunity to get the job done. Carmentis is on brand new outlap tyres. And I tell ya, Milden, wow, that could haunt him for a while to come. The track, everyone, we've said it, the chat said it, people outside my window are saying it, you cannot get an overtake done on this track. The undercut is where it needed to be, and I tell ya, Carmentis will definitely be singing in the rain right now. There is no way he expected to be in the lead of the race when he saw Milden in his rear view mirror as he came out that pits. It looked to him and us and everyone like it was job done.
Oh, Milden almost got the move done on Carmentis there. That was close. So for the viewers at home, the undercut nearly worked for Milden if he did not miss his braking zone. If he did not miss his braking zone, he would have been fine and took the lead. So for Milden versus Carmentis, who are on similar pace, undercut. But it obviously depends on the skill level as well in this lobby because it's mixed ability for some of these drivers. Gazzaman's been in the pits for a long time. That is interesting. So a man who qualified well today and did a fantastic race last time about. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to score any points. And Carmentis is very slow on his outlap. I'm just seeing what Milden's lap time is. 1:52.5 last lap. That's almost qualifying pace almost right there, and a few seconds quicker than the rest of the field. These two mean business here, and with 27 minutes to go, I kind of wish it was 75 minutes instead of 60, but there we go. And Colin said in a chat that overtakes can be done around here, and he's pointed out a battle that I do remember watching back in 1997. I was trying to think. I was 97, so I was born in 95. I was 2 in 97, and wow, I remember watching it on. And when I was little, a few years later, I remember watching on tape. And Hill versus Schumi 97 was definitely the battle that he showed. I think I remember when Hill went up the hill to go for the move, and it was just sensational. And we've seen similar moves today as well there, so that is probably what happens. But yeah, if someone else can think of any insane battles around Hungaroring, let us know. Also, Fernando Alonso versus Lewis Hamilton, nice battle there in real life in the Formula 1. That was fantastic, I have to say, around here. So it can be done, of course. Eddie's been in the pits for quite a bit as well, so I wonder if Eddie's struggling. But Milden's pace is absolutely insane. Can you just check Carmentis' last lap when he comes across the line? I'll keep an eye on Milden right now and stay on board with him. And I think they're both even on pace, but there's some moments where Milden is a lot better in terms of traction compared to Carmentis at the moment. So we'll see. So, wow.
51.2 for Milden, for Carmentis. 51 flat for Milden.
Wow, so Milden is 2 seconds quicker than, well, 2 tenths. 2 tenths, sorry. Yeah. 2 tenths quicker than our race leader. Could this be the moment that Milden is looking for? I think Milden is probably waiting for Carmentis to make a mistake. Colin says that he was 14 in 97.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can laugh at the other bit as well. SOP Motorsport trying to say that I was 50 in 1997. Colin and Dr. Nailbender, it's not going to notice that you both laughed at that. I can assure you were both suffer in not so sort of ways. Jess as well. Yeah, thanks very much. I
Sorry,
can't
sorry about
confirm
that.
that it's fake news. I
Fake-
wasn't
fake
50 in
news-
1997. I was 49.
Fakenews.com.
No, I'm only kidding. I wasn't 49. I was 20. Right? Leave me alone. My daughter was born in 1997. So, yeah,
Ah,
50.
not
Thanks
not
very much, Simon.
not as much. Not as she's only slightly younger than me. Nice. Ooh.
Yeah. 24. She's just turned 24. Spectacular child. So she is. Absolutely. And she cooks a mean brownie, I'll tell you. Oh my goodness.
I
She's
should go
good at
round to
baking
her
cake.
house then and have
Oh
some
yeah.
brownies.
Yeah, I'll get some vacuum packed and send down to you. Seriously, her home baking is absolutely phenomenal. I love it. She brings me homemade cheesecakes and everything. So,
Anyway,
oh,
racing.
that's what parenting. I know. Racing. It is still a battle for lead. Eddie and Gaza, man, we can see it's still in the pits. I'm still firmly on board with Car Mentalist, as you guys are on board with SOP Milden, which is pretty much the same thing at the moment, considering they're attached by a rubber bungee cord, which is probably only about 8 feet long, because they've been completely inseparable. They're putting almost identical lap times here, but Milden ever so slightly quicker again. He's thinking, but he just cannot seem to get. All praise to Car Mentalist in this situation. It has to be said. He is putting the car exactly where he needs to put it, when he needs to put it. Simon himself was saying that McLaren difficult to handle in these conditions. The Boltley definitely the car of choice. It definitely rides curbs a lot better than the McLaren does, as we can see the unsettling effect there of turn 4. So it is, it's Car Mentalist that's doing all the work here. Milden may be the quickest man on the track, but he's not in the lead of the race, and if he wants it, he's really going to have to work for it. Car Mentalist wins this one. It puts him in a comfier position going into the last 2 races, but certainly nothing he can rest on his laurels for, because as we can see, these two are pretty much inseparable for pace, and pretty much inseparable with a win each, a driver of the day each, and a pole position each, and we've only had 2 races. So it is pretty much all about these two at the moment. The McLaren versus the Bentley, and all British affair at the top of the table here in a very rain-soaked Hungary, which has only added to the excitement. While you guys are watching that, I'm going to have a quick look down, just because I've got a head full of squirrels. I want to make sure we're not missing anything. Dexter is up to 7th, and hey, let's go for it. This is why I'm a commentator. Cablo is in 6th place. SOP Cool has still got to take his pit stop. He's out in the front at the moment, but I think if Cablo keeps up the pace he's at, he really is going to be challenging Cool for 5th position. Oh no, because Camel Babo's in there as well, actually. What a drive from Camel Babo and Cablo, if we're being absolutely honest here. Let me just check. Camel Babo qualified in 8th and Cablo qualified in 10th. So Camel Babo's made up 3 positions and Cablo has made it up 4. That is not too bad at all. Time is asking where Cool's gone. He's still out in the lead of the race. As I was just saying, Simon, he is the last driver to come into the pit to take his mandatory pit stop. We've got 2 drivers who are still in the pits. One can only assume they had terminal damage.
Eddie, I just have confirmation from Eddie. He said in the ACC tier chat, he said, "Sorry guys, it wasn't my day today. I tried to get my head back in, but I don't know why my mandatory pit stop didn't complete." No! So he had the mandatory pit stop glitch. It didn't, when he pitted, it didn't not register. I wonder if the same happened to Gaza as well.
Oh, Cablo's run by. Dex is going to be mounting a move soon.
Let's go on board with Dexter then. Let's go on board with Mr.
Ferrari.
Dexter in the Ferrari. Yes.
We do love the Ferrari, and I tell you what, the Bentley's definitely not loving the Ferrari. Cablo's had a great drive so far. As I say, he's up 4 positions. Dex is actually down 2, which is a great recovery considering he was down in 16th after turn 2. But he's closing that back up, and I'll tell you what, and just behind him as well, Khalifa and Floppy Fox are going at it. So Floppy really has had himself a big mistake, but it's Dex and Cablo that we're going to keep an eye on at the moment. Cool still out our on-track leader, but Car Mentalist is our race leader. Milden just in behind him. Dex on a comeback drive himself here, as I say, from 16th back to 7th. And he's definitely looking a bit quicker than the Bentley, of Cablo at the moment. Cablo not using as much of the track as Dex is, so he's definitely going to be slower on the way in and, more importantly, on the way out of the corners. Again, you can see Dex just using that little bit extra curb there. The more width of the track you can use, the more centrifugal force you can use to your benefit. Keep that speed up and get your exit speeds out the corner as high as possible. Dex, up the inside, that is a move done. Cablo not quite getting it right on turn 1. Dex getting it absolutely bang on. And into turn 2, it is 6th place for Dex. Cablo is close, but it is a foolish man that tries to make a move here. Please don't force a side by side through turn 3. Goodness gracious me. Just sticking the slipstream. Oh, he's run wide. He's going to cut back across. He's going to have exit pace here because he ran wide, so he is going to get a track limits warning. And that's why he backed out there. He was carrying the extra speed from running wide of the track limit, so
Sloppy Fox and Khalifa as well.
Oh yeah, in the background there, Jess. Oh, jump on Dex's spoiler. Circle.
Circle.
Is it?
I think
Just
it
about.
is.
Yeah!
I think
they've come together. Oh, they've come together. Khalifa and Floppy Fox. They've come together through the chicane. Floppy Fox is definitely wounded. We've now got a 3-legged fox running on the course, and it's ERT Khalifa. I'm assuming it wasn't his fault. The ERT guys are very, very fair, but all know, we've all seen in the last 2 races, some of the sportsmanship has been beyond belief. He is cracking on. You feel if the driver causes an incident, they are always in these leagues waiting to give the position back. So either a genuine racing incident or partially Floppy's fault. But either way, it's put paid to the battle that was happening for 8th and 9th. It's given ERT Khalifa a bit of breathing space. 17 minutes left to go. Not a great race for Floppy after such early potential. Found himself on the podium. 3rd spot. Turn 3. And it's going to be a big ask getting himself any more positions in these conditions against these drivers. Dex has very quickly extricated himself from the Cablo situation, and he's now actually hunting down Camo Babo, who we almost forgot about at the start of the show, Jess. He's in 5th, and now the SOP Cool is in the pits. I'm predicting that Camo Babo, oh, that's going to be close.
It's going to be Carmentalist versus Milden close. Let's
It really, yeah, I think it is, yeah. I think it is.
So let's keep on board with this man, Camo Babo, then, for the rest of this lap. We've also got the battle with Milden and Carmentalist, but I don't think that's going to materialise for a moment. So I think we could draw away from that battle and concentrate on the Camo Babo versus Kull battle as well. Honestly, Kull is driving amazing in that Mercedes today. Fair play to him so far, and he's going to probably almost match the points he got in Belgium, but not quite. But still, he's not going to be on 0 at the end of this tonight, which is good news. I'm happy about that. So let's actually go on board now. Why not?
Cool's moving out the pits.
Oh.
Okay, what, Camo Babo, yeah, he's still in sector 3. Wow. So Cool really has got himself. Oh, his pit's not registered. He did seem to be in there slightly quickly for a tyre change, but...
Oh, did his pit not register, did it?
Well, it's not registered. He was in the pits for a while. I don't know, I can't confirm whether he changed tyres or not. I did think he'd be coming out the pits around about now. So, yeah, but whatever happened, SOP Cool. But obviously, if he hits record, if he did come into the pits, I'm sure we can look at the evidence and leave him in his position. But
yeah, I was on board with Camo Babo, so but we know that he's definitely gone in because we saw the pit thing.
Oh yeah, I watched him in the pit. I watched his car stationary, and then I watched him move. But like I said, I don't know. I didn't have a look at the timing board. I would have to get a stopwatch out. But I did expect Camo Babo to be into the last turn minimum as Cool was leaving the pits. So yeah, perhaps he did pit a bit quick.
That sucks. I jinxed Cullen. Paul's gonna hate me.
Yeah, so that is a sore one. Although we'll have, because Eddie said he had a problem with the pits as well. So there might be a bit of a glitch tonight in the rain. Certainly no glitch for Car Mentalist and SOP Milden.
Let's go back on board with them.
Race. Yeah, it's, again, Jess, less than half a second between the two of them. And there we go. It's 7/10 now. So yeah, so 7/10, but still less than a second between these two drivers for the entire race, except when they came into the pits. And when they came out of the pits, when Car Mentalist came out of the pits, it was as close as the two of them have been for the whole race. We've got 14 minutes of this still to go. Who is going to hang on? Whose nerve is going to hold? Whose is going to break? Oh, Car Mentalist, that wasn't the entry he wanted into that corner, and Milden closed the gap once again, but in the rain, so difficult to get that power down and make it count when you need it. Again, the McLaren and the Bentley just catching just the edge of that curb. Come this corner here again, the Bentley looks like the quicker car, but Car Mentalist doing again exactly what he needs. 24th time asking. We're going to come through the chicane. Left curb, right curb, foot flat down. Well, that's a lot of curb for the Bentley. That's going to unsettle him on the exit. That's not going to be the entry he wants to corner 6 and 7. A little bit wide of the mark there again for Milden. Bit of a wiggle on the exit. Car Mentalist just disgustingly smooth in that McLaren. It is honestly unbelievable. Again, see how much curb he takes there. Middle engine rear wheel drive car looking absolutely poised in the rain. And again, you see Milden mounting as much curb as he can, trying to use every single millimetre of the track he legally can to somehow close the gap, and then in some way, somehow actually get past Car Mentalist. It is a tall order on a very, very, very wet track. Forza Brendan is in the chat saying, come on, Car Mentalist. Eddie, I did fuel in one and tyre in another. Okay.
So that's probably what Culler's done.
Yeah, that's what Cool's done. Yeah, I did fuel in one and tyre in another. Right, okay, Eddie. Oh, somebody's left. Oh, don't tell me for a disconnect. What?
Please don't be Connor. Please don't be Connor. Because Connor
No,
had the disconnect.
Connor.
Oh, it's not Connor. So it's not 2 in a row like last week. Because last week he had some issues. So can you find out who that is while I'm on the outball shot with the two leaders? Because this is just too intense not to back out of this at the moment. Milden 151.4 last lap. He's producing lap second to none right now. Car Mentalist is just hanging on in there. It kind of reminds me of Daniel Ricciardo versus Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen versus Lewis Hamilton at Monaco. And even when you're chasing behind... Oh, it's Blue Mosquito that's disconnected, I think.
Yes, it is. He's not in the... Yes.
Oh, the server is not having a good time tonight, is it?
Oh, they never do. Honestly, they're... Unfortunately, the ACC, yes, just because I've had so many problems with it when we're doing SOP console races, the console servers are just horrendous. They're really, really, really not very much up to task. Although we've had PC servers cave in as well. But yeah, the ACC servers on console not really up to scratch. Don't have that many problems, but yeah, again, Cool still hasn't cleared his pit. What?
That's weird.
Oh, he's come back in and gone back out, although that was a very quick pit stop the second time.
I wonder if he's forgot to change his settings. Oh, so that is something I think that the team over in the cool land will have to figure out on the debrief and find out why does it keep doing that.
What's happened there, yeah.
And I think it may be that he forgot to select both fuel and tyres. That's probably my reckoning. So he might have thought he served both, so he unchecked them, but he's probably forgot one or the other. So yeah, he's probably going to be a lap down at this race, so not ideal. Not the way.
Way outside the top 10.
Not the way he would have liked his first race in the Mercedes to go, unfortunately. And yeah, I feel bad for Eddie and Kud right now. Obviously, Eddie in the chat, but at least Eddie will learn his lesson for next week when we head to Zolder. We have the advantage of going to Belgium twice this season. This is great, and we all know that we love Belgium.
Yes, we do. I'm racing there on Sunday night actually. It's Zolder.
Oh, nice.
I've got a race on Sunday night on Zolder, so.
Oh, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that as well. And yes,
well, it's 11 o'clock at night actually. It's 11 o'clock at night.
Oh no, I'll be in bed by then. I'll be in bed by then.
It's the only chance I get to race during the week now, 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. So.
And SOP Motorsport saying Zolder is the better of the two, and he's also saying what a shame could have a top 3. He could have had. I think he could.
Oh yeah, he definitely could have. And Simon could definitely be getting a virtual poke in the eyeball. He's definitely poking the bear tonight with a 50 joke, and with Zolder is the better of the two. I think we all know what the best Belgian track is, Simon. Okay, so just see, everybody knows, and now everybody says it exactly how I do.
I even say it in F1 as well. I'm commentating on a Spa race next week. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited.
Yeah, that'll be good. Cannot beat the Spa action. And these drivers are going to feel like they've been in a Spa all day with the amount of rain that's been falling. They really are. It's been a very, very, very wet affair.
I think Simon is going to have a bit of an argument with you at the end of the stream because he still thinks Zolder, and he likes Paul Ricard as well. I'm going to have words after the stream, my friend.
Oh, goodness, yes, Simon. Just you wait till I get in the SOP staff room, my friend. We'll
Let us know who your driver of the day is in chat, guys, so far, because me and John will have to pick it at the end of the stream. But I would like you to tell us your thoughts. Who has performed well, do you think, as well? I've got a few contenders as well. I have to say, I believe Connor got a podium in the pre-season race, I believe that was right. 3rd or 2nd. He's back in a podium territory at the moment. And I think he's going to be doing well to hang on to that. He's got... I would say he's got a comfortable gap behind as well, so he's just running some clear air at the moment. He's not in a battle at the moment. The only battle that is going on is between the two leaders right now, but we don't want to draw too much attention to those two yet, because it's unfair if we don't cover the midfield battle that is going on for quite some time now. And I have to say, Dexter, one person said in the chat, Dr. Nailbender said Dexter driver of the day. Did he start 5th by any chance?
He started in 5th. He got taken out in turn 1.
And he's back in 5th.
He dropped down to 16th, and he's back into 5th.
Well, so he's definitely one of the contenders. He's definitely one of the contenders for sure.
I'm going to be honest, he's my main contender for driver of the day. I'm going to state that right here, right now. Dexter is definitely, for me, my
he would have won. I think he would have been with Milden the car mentalist if he didn't have that incident.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. I would say for me, the 3 driver, I mean, you can't look past what Camel Babel and Cablo have done, getting themselves further up the field in the start. The battle for the lead has been phenomenal. But, I mean, for me, how do you pick between Car Mentalist and Milden? One of them defended stoutly, one of them attacked it stoutly.
Milden's lost a bit of time.
He has a bit of time, 1.7 seconds. So, Car Mentalist, really is coming alive towards the end of the 2nd stint. He's perhaps had enough of that bright pink and black Bentley shining in his rear view mirror. 5.5 minutes left to go, and he is putting the foot down again, making a mockery of everything I'm saying. He's now putting, I'll tell you what, if he can stretch that gap and he's closing a few minutes, then he's going to be on for another driver of the day nomination. He really is just taking a clean sweep at everything, isn't he? Pole positions, race wins, drivers of the day awards. But when you're as good as that and you're putting in laps like that and winning races, and he's not just winning the races, he's soaking up the pressure. I mean,
literally
soaking up the pressure. It is soaking wet out there, and he has got a very competent Bentley driver keeping him very honest, as we've seen. If it wasn't for that mistake at the end of Milton's outlap, just at the start of Car Mentalist outlap in turn 1, as we just see
lost more
struggling with that
time.
again. He has. Well, he's just made a bit of a pig's ear at turn 1, if I'm honest. So he's going to lose a bit more time as well. So yeah, he really is struggling at the moment. Down in 8th though. It's a side-by-side situation. It's Mercedes on Mercedes. It's SOP Cool on ERT Khalifa. Cool that's got the move done coming into turn 13, but the Mercedes of Khalifa is going to come straight back at him. We're going to see side-by-side at the turn 14. Potentially up the inside, closes the door early then from the Mercedes in front. So it's SOP Cool is going to come across the start-finish line for the 30th time of asking, and he's going to be in 7th position. Most definitely what could have been for the SOP driver that started on the 2nd row of the grid with his teammate Milden. Oh, that's very close there. A lot of care from the red Mercedes, and Khalifa flashing the lights there. He's not happy at the way the door was closed, so he's going to position his car to pester for a move up the inside. No move there to be made, but you can certainly get it very close to keep people at equal acceleration with Cool here. Through the right hand kink of death. Slightest mistake there, you could end up in any one of 4 walls. Both drivers making it through very cleanly though. Both one Mercedes getting a lot of care, one Mercedes not so much. So stretching back out again, and it's SOP Cool that's off and running. Very comfortable move he made there in sector 3, when he's wasting no time whatsoever. Saying goodbye to ERT's Khalifa, who of course had a great race last week. And again, this is going to do wonders for the point situation going forward, this championship. Oh, we've had a bit of contact. Cam, come on, and ERT Kyle, and it's going to mess with the race leader, Jess.
Yes.
This is going to be a fun one. Kyle has come together with Cam, come on, in turn 2, and Carmentless is right behind them, coming out with the exit at turn 4. One Mercedes out the way. There's Milden closing in the background. Carmentless gets himself past Kyle. Now it's Cam come on to get his way through. I'm just going to keep an eye on Kyle as well, because he's got the Bentley, 2nd place man, just behind him. Difficult track to overtake. Even more difficult track to overtake in the rain. Even more difficult to work out a 4-way blue flag situation when you've got the 2 race leaders. Mercedes quickly out the way though. Milden doesn't lose any time at all. Oh, Cam, come on, caught a bit of grass there trying to let Milden through, Carmentless through. That was very nearly all she wrote for the Mercedes, but he does gather himself back again. Milden, not sure what's going on there, whether Carmentless is really putting the foot down or whether Milden is struggling a bit. But a gap that was sitting about 7/10 of a second for the vast majority of this hour-long race. It's now at 2.1 seconds, even with the interference of these back markers. Not that they actually did much interfering with the positions of the drivers around them. Getting themselves out the way very quickly indeed. I'm sure Milden won't be too saddened that he's got a bit of slipstream.
Final lap of this race. Final lap of this race. Carmentless has just crossed the line for the final lap. At least we're getting it this week on like Spa, so...
Yeah, I was actually joking. Does Cool still have to pit to make, or is that a bit of a glitch? The thing is a bit of a, well, we're not sure if it's an actual glitch or if he hasn't followed the full procedure, but it's not his first race, so you would think he would know to change tyres and take on fuel during the one stop. So yeah, unfortunately we'd have to find out.
He may have a POV, so I think if he wants to prove that he's done the fuel and tyres, he will have to send it to the stewards, and then they will have a look at that, and if they find that the pit stop was sufficient and it followed the rules, then Cool will keep that 2nd place, if not 7th place. If not, Cool will be, I don't know what will happen.
Well, you'll get will get a time penalty if he crosses the line with that pit marker. So you'll be given
30 seconds, is that right?
It depends on the length of the track and the mandatory pit requirements. If he's mandated to change tyres and take on fuel, that will be taken into consideration with his penalty. If it was just a straight technical, get in the pit, stop and go again, then yeah, it would be a straight up 30 seconds. But if you do that at Spa when you're supposed to change tyres, you could get yourself a phenomenally long penalty.
Anyway.
Phenomenally long penalty. But yeah, coming around the last corner though, Jess, it is. I said it at the start of in the opening paragraph. Said that he is the one to beat. Could anyone mount a charge? He said, "Excuse me, Mr. Raven, hold my beer. Let me show you how it's done." He is singing in the rain. He's crossing the start-finish line. That is the checkered flag. Once again, he's taken pole position and he has led the race from start to finish. It is the McLaren Driving Championship leading car mentalist, followed home in second place by SOP's Milden after a spectacularly great race from him. One slight mistake at the pit exit. Second place it is, and Art Connor in the Aston Martin, is going to round out the podium positions. Then it is the ERT members. It's Camel Babo. He's up into fourth, and Dexter. He's made it back to his starting position of fifth. Great drive from Dex. We've got Floppy Fox. He's going to finish in sixth position, so he did gain a few positions after that mistake early door. And SOP Cool with a pit glitch in seventh. 130 seconds has been added to his time because he didn't take that pit stop.
That I don't think it matters. Was Khalifa a lap down? No, he wasn't. I don't think. I don't know.
Khalifa, I don't think he was. I think that's going to, when more drivers cross the line, he might jump down a bit. But yeah, Khalifa has taken 8th at the moment, flying from in the Lamborghini. He's coming in the last corner as we speak. He'll take the checkered flag for 9th. And Cablo in the Bentley. In fact, there you go. The final results are in. SOP Cool has been demoted to 10th with that 130-second penalty, which means at the moment the result that we are looking at pending Stewart's inquiry on Cool's pit stop is Khalifa 7th, flying from 8th, Cablo 9th, and SOP Cool in 10th with Cam Come On 11th, ERT Kyle in 12th, Blair Grills in 13th. We've got Blue Mosquito. Didn't finish the race actually, disconnected from the server, and Eddie and Gazaman finished the race in the pits. Another absolute cracker served up there, Jess.
I have to say that was incredible from all 16 drivers, but you just can't put to words how amazing drive car mentalist did today. I think if Milden didn't outbrake himself, Milden would have challenged it as well, but you know, I think car mentalist I'm just lost for words, to be honest. I think it's going to take some beating for Milden to challenge car mentalist, but I hope Milden can challenge him in Zolder. And it's now time, before we get the drivers in for their interviews, to pick our driver of the day. And I am going to have to pick someone that I probably think you're going to pick, but I'm going to pick him Death because I'm a lady. Joking. I'm going to have to pick Dexter for my driver of the day nomination. Started 5th, got caught up in so many incidents at the start, was dropped down to 16th, was then in 9th, and now he made his way up to 5th, I have to say, was incredible. So my question is, was there a point that you were about to give up, or did you just focus on the race ahead? Brilliant comeback drive, by the way. So that is my driver of the day nomination. And who is your driver of the day nomination, John?
Can we just nominate Dex twice? No. It's got to be car mentalist. It's got to be car mentalist. He took pole position in the wet. He led the race from start to finish. He soaked up the pressure from Milden lap after lap after lap after lap. And he brings it home. I mean, that's a pressure position to be in. And a question for him. What should we ask him? Yeah, how difficult did you find defending against Milden? I mean, really, I want to know how that battle was for both of those drivers, to be fair. Yeah, so we'll go with that. Car mentalist for me, driver of the day, with that lead from start to finish. Great drive.
I think to be honest, if I didn't pick Dexter, you probably would have picked him as well, and I would have picked probably a car mentalist. So I think we were both on the same wavelength. I think we would have probably picked the two driver of the days. I think. Car mentalist was in the box, but he's gone. Okay, that is interesting.
Okay.
But I think we'll just wait for a few more drivers to get. Who has been your driver of the day as well? To be honest, it was such a good race, I have to say. Again, we'll find out what happened to Kuluk with his pit stop error as well. Brendan say, congratulations, car mentalist, another amazing win. Car mentalist has just not put a foot wrong, hasn't he?
Oh, he really has. It's been a pretty flawless championship. I mean, he's not won all three of the races, but he's taken podiums when he's not on the top spot and when he's not finishing on the lower spots of the podium. He's finishing on the top pole position, leading from start to finish. You absolutely cannot argue with the level of driving that he's putting in. And with 2 races left to go, I do believe it gives him a 6-point lead. Certainly the pressure's still on. I mean, let's face it, we've got 2 races left to go, and he's not going to have it all his own way. As SOP Milden showed tonight, what a drive he had.
Shall we bring him in?
I was just going to say, yeah, will I drag him in? There we go. Jess, 1 step ahead of the game, as always. And not quite 1 step ahead of the game. Tried so hard this evening. Very, very, very nearly got the undercut with the pit stop. But it's a 2nd place and a podium finish once again for SOP Milden. How are you doing after that race? Sorry, bud.
Yeah, it was good fun.
That wasn't convincing.
No, it was fun. It was fun racing, and obviously after last week when Commenters just disappeared in the distance, keeping him in sight was good fun, and having a good race with him for once. But yeah, I'm kicking myself a little bit, as you can imagine.
Yes, you know what? I can't. Yeah, we're going to have to go straight to it. Dex exiting the pits. You had him in your sights.
I went for the full send.
Okay. It wasn't sure what was going on, but it was. You did decide to go full Postman Pat.
Yeah.
Give it the full send. Didn't quite work out, though.
Yeah, I sent it too much. I was in Germany by the time I finished. So.
Indeed. But up until that point, and even after that point, you got very, very close again, but then you seemed to drop off towards the end. Was that just a case of, you know what, I've got a second, there's no point in challenging, or did you have an issue?
To be honest, I think to be honest, we were both flat out, and it was, I think I had a bit of pace. If I'd got past, I think I could have edged away. But literally towards the end, I made a couple little mistakes, and obviously that just stops him looking in the mirror, so his pace went up a little bit. And then at the end, I just really went for it, and closed it back down a little bit more, and I was quicker through the 2 back markers. But you can't make mistakes if you're trying to race someone like that, really.
No, you definitely can't. Although, to be fair, you can't struggle to make mistakes against someone like yourself, because the two of you did have a very, very comfortable lead over 3rd place in the end. How did you find the conditions out there? I mean, that seriously looked wet. We've seen a lot of drivers struggling to get the power down in the back. Once you got into it, was it something that you could get into a rhythm still, or was there certain corners where every time you went near them there was a slight hint of trepidation?
Yeah, it was kind of like, it didn't feel like to me like full wet. It was kind of like greasy. So to try and keep up with them, I had to basically nail curbs and stuff. So I had to make sure I wasn't on the throttle when I was on the curbs, and it was just you just got to keep doing the same thing over and over again. But yeah, it was a laugh.
It certainly was. It means now there is the slightest bit of daylight now between you and Car Mentalist. There's a lot of drivers saying in their interviews they fancied him to be the favourite to win the championship. It's only a 6-point gap. Of course, we've got Zolder and turn 1 at Monza.
You know what's coming, don't you?
Oh yeah! I can only hope
it's
it's raining as well.
Seriously,
yes! Bring on the rain as well.
If I can't stop for turn 1 at Hungary, then I've got no chance for Monza.
Brilliant. But seriously, for going forward in the championship, you've got a comfortable position in 2nd overall. You're only 6 points off the lead. Can you do it?
I'm not expected to, I don't think, because like I say, if you look at, say, SOP last season, Commenters won the Pro and I was in Silver. So he's like a whole league ahead of me sort of thing. So
yep.
I mean, just to fight him is something, for me. And then we'll see. But I think the Zolder's coming up, and I'm pretty confident around that track. Monza, I'm not so confident. So we'll see. Won't give up.
Yeah, no, definitely not Zolder. Yeah, it's one of my favourites for racing as well. But I've performed there above my pace, is for sure, there in Kyalami. So I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys get on there. Although with some of the lap times you were putting in the wet around here, I'm thinking about selling my wheel, to be honest. Jess, do you have any questions for the man that finished in second position here in Hungary?
Well, to be honest, John, you pretty much answered what I was going to say, but I had to say brilliant drive from you in the wet as well, because you were struggling a bit in practice as well. Considering that you, from your pre-race interview, that you did not race in Hungary on ACC before tonight, can you say that you'll be more confident to race in Hungary on ACC again in another series?
Yeah, I'm hungry for more.
Yes, there we go.
Go on, Milden.
Loving the puns, Milden. I love
Loving the puns.
Where's the drum kit?
See, yeah, you know what? I'm going to get one of those soundboards. Somebody else that do comms has actually got one of these soundboards. Although every time I tell a joke, he just plays the sound of crickets.
He goes, wow, wow.
Yeah, someone will like chirp, chirp, chirp in the back. So, yeah.
I'll stop insulting you.
Anyway, well done, Milden, today, and best of luck with the championship fight against Car Mentalist. Let's hope you can take it all the way to the final round.
Yeah, well done to him, and well done to Connor for his first podium as well. He's deserved that, to be fair. I knew the Aston would be strong as well, so he's done a really good job there.
And speaking of Connor, John, I believe he is waiting in the interview box to be interviewed. So should we drag him in?
Yeah, let's drag him in. There we go. So thank you to Milden and congratulations for the second place, coming in to say hello. But joining us now, a man with a very, very well-deserved podium after a solid drive in the aforementioned Aston Martin. It is, of course, ART Connor. I would imagine a very, very, very happy man at the moment, Connor. Is Connor there?
Sorry.
Oh, there we go.
I don't think he heard you, so repeat that question again, John.
I will do it.
Yeah.
Yes, I will do it. A very, very, very well-deserved podium. You were getting props there from the man that finished just ahead of him. And after that performance in those conditions, to take a podium amongst this company, that must feel pretty good.
Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised myself, to be honest. I was fully ready just to take another P4 after sitting behind Sean literally the entire stint. And then when he came out off his pit stop, I was like, oh, it's literally the same gap, if not slightly bigger. So I was just ready for a P4, and then he spun it coming out of like the third to last turn. I was like, oh, I didn't see him hit a wall, so I kind of expected him to hunt me, but he pit right after. So I was like, I'll take it, and I'm happy with it, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely. I would, definitely be happy with a podium. It looks great on the points scoring board. How did you find the conditions? Have you done much racing in the rain on ACC, and how did you find the conditions as well yourself? We had Milden saying he felt the track was more greasy than a full wet. How would you find it out there?
I think it was all right, to be fair. I was quite enjoying it. It's difficult conditions, to be sure, or to be fair, but like the minute you get the hang of it and kind of find your rhythm, you kind of just settle into a consistent pace. And then the second stint, I was constantly just hitting relatively equal lap times to my best on that stint. So consistency kind of settled in a bit in the second stint, and it was fairly easy to drive, to be fair. Although I think that's partly the Aston being very good in the rain. So.
Well, yeah, the Aston is certainly a front runner on the PC ACC events. It certainly seems to be doing great work on the console as well. That and the Bentley seem to be the two main cars of choice. So let's just find out. So when you chose the Aston, was that because you liked the Aston, because it's a good all-rounder? Was there particular tracks that you earmarked and thought, right, I can get the Aston around those 3 out of the 5. I'll have myself some good points I can build on the other 2. What was your thinking behind your car selection?
Basically just that the Aston's my favourite car in the game. Like it's not my favorite to drive because it's a bad word to drive. I was almost going to say it, but then I thought we're live, so I can't.
Don't do
but
that.
it's not the best car to drive in any conditions. To be fair, it's good at the kind of very medium speed tracks and wet conditions, but I've been finding it pretty difficult to find a decent setup for it. But yeah, the reason I picked the car is just because Aston Martin are my favourite manufacturer, so naturally I'm going to pick it if I can.
No, it's good enough reason for me. Good enough reason for me.
And
Jess.
for me as well, because I love Aston Martin. My first car I used on ATC.
Yeah.
There we go.
Nice, nice. Have you got any questions for Connor?
I had a question. I had a question. Oh, yeah, I remember the question. Now you got your first podium in the seats, because obviously you got it in the pre-season race, but technically that didn't count towards the stats. No. Where would you say you want to be by the end of the season now?
Somewhere in the top 5, honestly. After last week's result, where my game blue screened on me.
That sucks.
I literally went and bought a PS5 just because I was fed up on my PS4 doing that. So I'm now on PS5.
Nice.
Performance is insane. Consistency is through the roof. Yeah, the performance increase is insane.
Amazing.
So,
the difference that makes. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's another world.
Get
it's
a
like
PS5,
living in another
kids.
world, honestly.
Yeah, at least get yourself a PS4 Pro and turn it down to 1080p. For anybody that is watching, by the way, if you do race on ACC on console and you've got a PS4 Pro, turn your graphics down to 1080p and you will get, it says 60 frames a second. It's more like 48 to 54, and it occasionally goes to 60 in the menus. But it is a drastic improvement on the PS4. So if you can't get a PS5, the PS4 Pro would be the next best thing. But yeah, I'm assuming and it even looks a lot better on the PS5. I've actually seen it streamed on the PS5.
So much better.
Looks so much better. So, and I know from switching to the PC, to go from a PS4 Pro doing 40, 50 frames a second to a PC that's doing 180 frames a second, I can tell you, what a difference. What a difference. So yeah, there you go, kids. If you want to get quicker, PS5 is the way.
I don't know about quicker, but more consistent is 100% true.
Yeah, if you want to be more consistent, then get a PS5.
Yeah, and if you want to be quicker, don't even start me on pedals. I'll go through a whole technical thing and get myself into proper trouble. What we will do, though, is we will congratulate Connor once again on a well-deserved podium.
Thank you.
Hoping to see him again there in the final 2 races. Definitely at Zolder. He said it himself. He's going to win. You heard it later. I'm sure that's what he said. I'm going to be
I'm sure he said he won. He's going to get the Dovski.
Yeah, definitely for the Dovski. But Connor, thank you very much for jumping in. Congratulations on your podium. Best of luck for the rest of the season, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
No bother. But what we're going to do now is Jess has already done it. It is now time to once again, the man, the myth, the legend, pole positions, leading from start to finish. We might have to start calling him Mr. Hamilton. He is making a mockery of the rest of the field in that McLaren, and he's gotten himself yet another Driver of the Day nomination for very, very, very good reason. It is Car Mentalist. How are we doing after that race, bud?
I am stressed out. That was very different to Silverstone, how that one played out. But yeah, that was far more stressful. But I'm glad that's the second one on the bounce. So yeah, really happy with that.
Yeah, I would be delighted with that. I mean, you talk about it was stressful for you. I'm going to have to be honest. It was an absolute delight for us to watch. So I apologise. We revelled in the stress that you and Milden had to go through. But as far as motorsporting goes, that was the absolute pinnacle. That first stint, I mean, that was incredible. It's very difficult to get an overtake done at this track anyway. But Milden, for all the life of it, he seemed to be the quicker out of the two of you. But you just, the last corner and turn 5... defend and crack on. Is that pretty much how that first stint played out?
For me, yeah, definitely. I went into qualifying expecting to be at the front, but obviously not to have the gap I had at Silverstone, because after doing some testing in the dry and in the wet before this race, the McLaren isn't amazing at Budapest. It's okay, but the rear of my car was kind of a little bit all over the place in pretty much any condition. So my car I knew that it was going to be a struggle for me to match what I could do last week. So I knew coming into the race, if I was at the front, I couldn't push like I did last week. I'd have to drive more defensively and just drive within myself to make sure I wasn't making any mistakes or pushing the boundaries. And that's exactly what I did. I knew that obviously once you get past turn 3, it's pretty much impossible to overtake unless you're making a mistake. So I just made sure that I got good runs at the final turn and out of turn 1, and then just kept it in the middle of the road pretty much for the rest of the lap and for the first stint in general. Only because the only way that Milden I feel like was going to get past is if I made a mistake. So even though I agree I probably was the slower of the two of us, I just kind of parked it in the middle of the road and made sure I didn't make any mistakes.
Yeah, did exactly what you needed to do to hold on to the lead of the race, and that is what great champions do. It is the moment we've all been waiting for, though. The big question. When you came out the pits and you saw Milden in your rearview mirror, I mean, seriously, there must have been a whole lot more than your steering wheel you were clenching, and I'd imagine your heart rate some way matched the revs of the McLaren as you exited the pits. I mean, that was close.
Insane.
Yeah. Really, really close that one was. I will say a lot of words came out of my mouth that I probably can't repeat. A lot of things was going on in my mind during that situation. I saw him coming down the pit. My pit stop was near perfect. I don't think I could have really changed anything about my pit stop. So I think it was pretty much all about Milden's outlap, and Milden's outlap out of the pit lane was insane. I mean, I was already 0.3 of a second up on my personal best on my in-lap, so I was pushing quite hard. So Milden's outlap must have been utterly insane, Milden's outlap. I think just proving that he was the faster of the two of us. But yeah, going into turn 1, I had a thought of sending it coming out of the pit lane, but then I thought, I'm not going to be stupid. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. So I just kind of braked to make sure that I could make the corner still with some speed. And I think at that point, Milden was probably quite frustrated that he'd spent the race behind me. So I think was just really not desperate, but
full send.
Yeah,
he was in the interview box. He did. We kind of thought he'd missed these breaks with an adrenaline rush, but he did see it. It's exactly what you've just said. The thought process you've just had. Frustration and realising that the driver in front of me, doesn't matter if I'm quicker, doesn't matter if he's quicker, he's got it in the middle of the road. He knows where and when to defend. And he said himself it was a full send situation there. So again, just plays into the fact that as far as you don't need to always be the quickest. But yeah, racecraft will certainly win the race. Sorry, Milden's in the chat as well. He's saying his outlap was pretty average and his pit stop was mega. Okay.
Oh, okay, fair play.
So Milden reckons that he really nailed his pit stop as well.
God, what the hell was he doing in the pit lane? I might have to message him and find out what he's doing in the pit lane, because Jesus, that was pretty mad. That the time he gained just in one lap, that was pretty mad. But like you say, I expected him to full send it anyway. I mean, it was the best opportunity that he'd had in that race up until that point to get past. But I was counting my lucky stars that he went just a little bit too deep. So. I was very thankful for that, and then just business as usual, pretty much.
Yeah, well, I was waiting to say and then straight away the battle commenced. He did make that mistake, the full send, ran a bit wide, but he very quickly got right back on your rear spoiler again, lap after lap after lap, and it wasn't until 5-6 minutes to go that you started stretching that gap out. That must have been a welcome sight as you saw the gap just extending ever so slightly, and then you come across the two back marker Mercedes who were battling for position. That must have been there's the giggle. That must have been an interesting few corners for you.
Yeah. to say the least. That was heart and mouth stuff. I mean, I was following them, and I was in. Obviously, you guys know Dakar. Obviously, Jess will know Dakar. Obviously, one of the commentators. I was in a party with him throughout that race, and I was talking to him throughout that race, thinking, I'm probably going to catch Camke before the end of this race, so I just have to make sure that if I catch him in the right place, and I'm not held up in any way. And then after I'd had that kind of chat with him, I just then didn't pay attention really to the gap until I then saw them right in front of me. And I thought, so I thought, oh God, that's come up far quicker than I thought it would. And then seeing Kyle facing sideways across the track on the exit of turn 2 was a little bit sketchy. I'd already accidentally gone deep into the corner anyway, so that kind of played into my advantage because he was kind of in the middle of the road, so I could just kind of scoot around him. And then I was just waiting for Camke to move out the way, and he moved out the way, which was good to see. So that was a little bit of a heart in mouth, but by that point I'd noticed that the gap between me and Mildon had grown to about 2.5 seconds, so I didn't need to panic too much, because once I'd got past Kyle and Camke, I knew he'd have to do the same because we had another lap to go anyway. So it wasn't too much of a worry. It was a bit of a worry seeing Kyle facing the wrong way, but once I got past Kyle, it was panic over. It was just kind of cruise it to the end.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. Yeah, talk about silky segues, Jess. We've had them all night. Talk about cruising to the end. That is now what could be considered a bit of daylight between you and second place. 6 points, I believe the gap is, and it gives you 2 race wins. Out of the 3, there's 5 races in total, of course, so any count back, should Mildon win the next 2 races, it's going to be even more interesting. But every driver worth his salt in the championship has named you as the one to watch.
Most of them.
A bit of daylight. Yeah, most of them indeed. Do you feel in a strong position at the moment? Or, I mean, certainly, as you say, it's not the race we saw at Silverstone last week, where he pretty much ran off into the distance and were finished before most of the drivers had even finished their warm-up lap. This one, you were kept very honest right to the end. How do you see Zolder, and then, of course, turn 1 at Monza, playing out towards the end of the season?
I'm just going to ignore turn 1 at Monza until we actually get there. That's going to be fun. But yeah, I think my confidence is up just a bit more after this race. I think traditionally in the past, when it's been races like this where I've been under pressure or I've been followed closely by somebody or it's been wet, something's usually gone wrong, usually of my own making. I especially earlier on, like SOP days, maybe when I just started out, I was so eager to try and gap someone and build a gap that I wasn't thinking about the bigger picture, and I would make a mistake and lose a few places. So I think being able to manage that as much as I did, I think builds my confidence a little bit more. Zolder, though, doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. I like the track. I think the track's quite nice, but I know that the front engine cars are going to have a big advantage over me at Zolder. They're going to be
chicane one.
Yeah, chicane. All of them pretty much.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. Yep. I can see what you mean there.
Yeah, that's going to be really fun. And obviously, the McLaren's traditionally not great over curbs. Like I said, I do like the track. I've had good races there in the past, but I expect Mildon and Poole and then probably Connor as well to be right up there, and I expect Froome to be back up there as well if it's dry. So I think next week is probably the race I'm the least confident for out of the 5 of the season. You
said that last week for tonight, and you won.
He likes to make it interesting, Jess. The man's a fellow broadcaster. He knows how to keep viewers on the edge of their seat.
Exactly. He's doing the commentators proud, I can tell you that.
That's what, and I tell you, I can confirm as well, car mentalist, that Mildon is quite happy to share his pit strategy. If there's, he said it's confidential unless there's money involved. In fact, so.
Oh
no!
So he's trying to keep his hands on that upper hand, and with it being this close, I'm all for that. To be fair, I'm not picking anybody's side. I just want to see great racing right to the end, and I tell you what, we are absolutely going to get it. Jess, Is there any questions you'd like to ask our mentalist that I haven't already stepped on? Although you did steal my driver of the day, so I feel justified in asking the questions.
Well, to be fair, you answered all of them, but I nicked your driver of the day, so I don't hold any grudges, I think. I'd just like to say excellent win from you, car mentalist, and there's just no stopping you at the moment, and best of luck for the final 2 rounds of the season.
Thank you very much. And just a shout out to you two as well. Thanks for commentating and stuff. I know it's obviously ACC is a little bit harder to commentate than F1, isn't it, Jess? But
yes.
Yeah, thank you guys for every week. You guys do an amazing job.
Couldn't do it without John.
Seriously, make sure you write that check, Jess. It was £9.99 to Carmen. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, bud. I appreciate it. You know me, I just love to see these on track battles because I know how difficult it is because I'm completely incapable of doing it myself, which is why I have such a high appreciation for drivers like yourself that can get within 2 seconds of my personal best when the track is soaking wet.
Oh, John.
But yes, thank you once again, Carmen. We'll let you go. Get yourself cooled down, get yourself something to eat, and get yourself prepared for Zolder next week. Ladies and gentlemen, our race winner, car mentalist.
Thanks, everybody.
There we go then. So that is round number 3 in the bag. Yeah, again, I'm going to go straight back and watch it all over again. What a race. We finally got the rain. Didn't quite get the result I wanted for the Ferrari, and my driver of the day got stolen at the end.
I went for the boring one last week, okay?
You did.
Or the week before. Actually, no, it was the week before I went for the boring one.
Right. That's right. But yeah, to be fair, Car Mentalist is absolutely, definitely worth a shout for driver of the day. And if there's a driver of the series award, yeah.
He may get the hat-trick again, you know.
Yeah, he may get another hat-trick. He really is phenomenal.
But I forgot to say this last week, and I was an absolute idiot for saying, we have got our results for comeback points. Inside the top 10, Camo Babbo gets the comeback points. Outside the top 10, it was a tie. Free tie for comeback points for 11 to 20. And Cam gets it for being the highest place finisher out of all those runners who gained 3 positions. So Camo Babbo and Cam get the comeback points for this week.
Superb. So there we go. Points all round. Smiles all round. And a lot of relieved drivers now that rainy little session is well and truly in the rear view mirror. But ladies and gentlemen, please get your rain dancing shoes on because we want to see rain in the next 2 weeks as well. It's Zolder and then it's Monza. Only the cruelest of cruel would wish a wet turn 1. Yeah, okay, I'll maybe stop that sentence.
God, you're mean, John. You're mean.
I really am. And it's safe to say I'll definitely be in the commentary box for that with my umbrella. Virtually, socially distanced, of course. But yes, that's another absolute cracker in the bag. The inaugural season here at One Hub, as I said in the opening, it really has hit the ground running. And I'm sure yourself and all the sponsors have got to be absolutely delighted with the way it's going so far.
Yes, definitely. A quick mention to our sponsors once again at Next Level Racing, ERT, Vespertine and 3M Sim Racing. We couldn't run these leagues without you guys as well. And obviously thanks to the drivers, thanks to the stewards, and thanks to everybody that has been watching. Make sure you follow us on our social medias. We've got Twitch, of course. I know some of you are not followed on Twitch yet. If you haven't, why haven't you? Click that follow button. I'm sure it will be appreciated.
We send with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's so loud. Press the follow button. Sorry. Got to get one Arnold impression in a week, don't I?
And there is John being weird at 9:15 at night. I'm just checking how many followers we're on, actually. 159. We're almost on 200 followers. If you haven't already followed Hoss00312, you probably just follow what we said just now. Thank you very much for the follow, my friend. Forza Brendan just followed as well at 48 minutes ago. And Dr. Nell Bender 80. Thank you for the follows this stream. Also, make sure you follow us on Discord as well. Join our Discord server. Follow us on Instagram as well and Twitter, and subscribe to us on YouTube. All of those links is in the Twitch bar thing, so you can check it out. And our Twitter handle and Instagram handle is One Hub Racing. It's easy. You can then be notified when we go live, and all streams from ACC and any F1 streams we do will be uploaded to YouTube afterwards, so you get to see the whole stream again if you want to, like John is gonna do.
Oh yeah! Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So we will let you.
Race.
So we will let you enjoy the rest of your evening. So it's good night for me.
And it is a very good night from me. Good night.
Good night. See you next week.